Hey everybody, early. Let me get the volume off. Alrighty, we're there. Oh Lord. Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Lord, we have a full house. We sure do. We have a full house today. Let's see who all's in here. We have RD, hello, Carol, Anna, Melinda, RS Angel 85. We're just gonna call you Angel. You can be the class angel. Tom, hey, how you doing? Carol, Jeremy, Kathleen, wow. Maria, and let's see who else is in here. Well, I think that's everybody. I think that's everybody right now. I'm doing fine. I'm doing just fine. Tired. I won't lie to you. I'm tired. I had a rough weekend. I got news for you. I did laundry this weekend. That wash machine we got don't hold much. 11 pounds of laundry is all you can wash. It's a small one. It takes all day to wash clothes. So I try to stay on top of it. But it's Tatting shirt ABC's. Tatting is ABC. All about creative. So there you go. It was the slogan for the 2024 Tat Days. It was our logo. Aurora, nice to see you. How you doing? I'm trying to get a desk drawer back in. It's heavy. Uh, but yeah, I'm just tired. I just tired. I'll recover. Trust me, I will. It's great to have you too, Aurora. Y'all ready for class today? We got a bunch of questions. Jax, awesome, you're here. Yeah, I stripped my bed, took all the summer blankets and stuff off because we've had some chilly nights, and I'm not one to stay cold. So I pulled all the blankets off and washed them. Each blanket is blue. Okay, I've got a queen size bed, so each blanket is one load. And I'll be honest with you, it's a job. He's taking it all up to dry. We just have a washer, and when we travel, the washer goes into storage. We don't travel with it. They weigh a ton. Hi, Silver. Uh, so we try to pull off as much weight as possible when we travel and take what is necessary with us. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. Let everybody peel on in here before we get started. We may run over today because I have a couple of um, demonstrations I want to do for you guys. I have class scheduled up for questions. Let's go like that. Okay. Hi, Derbie. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Esther. So I want to touch base on the questions and get those answered because a lot of you had trouble with the onion ring and the square, the challenge motif. So I'm going to walk you through the challenge motif. And for a special appearance, we're going to do both challenge pieces so I can show you how to do those rings. You have a choice. You can do them one of two ways. And that's to Aurora. We go back way back. First day I came to Georgia's classes, I come in and I gave the smiley face. Aurora says, I give these kinds of smiley faces, and it was the big one with all the teeth showing and everything, and we made instant friends then. So, but yeah, as a special treat, I'm gonna do that. So class is gonna run over a little bit, but 4:30 my time, I got to cut it off because we have an appointment. We're gonna go look at a lot and, see if we can't get the rig in down there, and it's to where I can get other doctors because apparently these people up here only understand one thing, doctor bills and no seeing a patient, so needless to say, if I stay here, they're gonna bankrupt me. It's just that simple. I've never paid out so much for doctor bills and didn't get any medicine. Not bit, nothing. So, we're gonna go somewhere where a doctor can help us, and we can get everything under control. Yes, we've been besties ever since, ain't we, Aurora? All right, folks, it's time to get the move on. I got some thank yous here I need to address. Melinda Beach, Carmen Pinto, and Terry Thompson. Thank you very much for your donations. Every penny counts, and we're chipping away at that $1,700 bill come September of next year. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's going to help a lot. All right. Now for today's agenda. We're gonna learn how to do a folded join. That was one of the problems. Everybody was trying to figure out how do you join that last ring on that square motif. Well, I'm gonna show you how to do that folded join. It's easy peasy, okay? But with me, everything in tatting is easy peasy, all right? And it is if you stop looking at things difficult, okay? We all have a tendency when we start a new anything, whether it be gardening, quilting, crocheting, knitting, sewing, doesn't matter. We always think we can't accomplish this. We can't do this. Who taught our fathers? Hi, Pam. Who taught them? It was passed down. But who taught the first person that did it? Think about that. And everything someone had to develop. All right. And if you look at things from that perspective, then it's easier for you all to figure it out. So that's what we're gonna do today is look at it from a design perspective so that you can relate it to what you're doing. Hi, Karen. So, with that said, we're dropping downstairs, all right? Because I got a bunch of stuff on my desk. I got a couple of things I want to share with you guys too, if I can get my mouse to get into gear and work with me. It has a tendency to wanna fall asleep, and when it does, it just irritates me. Just does. So, let me switch the camera over and let's see if we caught up on your side. There we go. I wanna make sure I can see what you all are seeing. Alright? So, I'm going to enlarge to full screen so I can see everything. I'm not gonna be able to see your chat, so any questions can come up, hold them. Write them down and hold them or feed them off to the mods because I'm trying something here on my side to make sure you all can see everything on your side. Let me move this light around, more light on the subject. There we go. Now you see my little bag here. It's got all kinds of little goodies in here. But this is what we're going to work on. But first, got a couple of things. This here, Clover just came out with this. This is a soft touch thread pick, okay? And I got it, it's pretty reasonably priced. I got it for $6.99. But for you folks that work with finer threads, let me tell you a little secret to this little puppy. Get her open. It's gonna blow your mind. It's supposed to be used If you get a sweater that gets a snag or something, you use it to fix the snag, pull the thread to the back side. Well, I got news for you. You work with finer threads, there is your crochet hook. Y'all see that? It's a small little crochet hook, okay? But she's got this padded handle here, okay, that will help you maneuver the hook. And the nice thing is they give you a cap to go with it because these small hooks, they will catch on things, and before you know it, the tips broke off. So, I mean, for the price, it's pretty good stuff, and this is from Clover, Japan. The only place you're gonna be able to get this is through Amazon. Now, I will add it to our Amazon store and, our affiliate store, and that way, if y'all are interested, get it, because eventually you will work the 90s and 100s and so forth. You'll find yourself working with, quilter's thread, that type of stuff, or just regular sewing thread as time goes on. But get you all one of these if your heart's desire is to work with finer threads. If not, like I say, you can use it to pull any mistakes out. This will open up a knot, a lock joint knot, okay, which very few people can open a lock joint knot without destroying the thread. I learned from the best, and she taught me how to do this, okay? But we gotta learn the lock joint first. So, the first thing on the agenda, after we go through our goodies, talk about the things, the questions everybody had. Now, I also got this. This is a size 5 tatting needle, so y'all could see what the package holds. Now, you can get the tatting needle, just tatting needle alone, okay? And it'll come into a plastic wrapper like this. You get it at Handy Hands or with Amazon. Now, what you're gonna get is a small, yeah, you see that? That is a needle threader or a big needle threader, depending on the size of yarn you're using, okay, or thread. That is to thread your Handy Hand size 5 tatting. And this is the Handy Hands. It comes in a tube. Now be careful with these tubes because with time the tubes start breaking down and they'll split up here. When they do, put you a piece of scotch tape around it. It'll help. Okay? We're having a commercial on my side. What about you guys? I'll wait. I'm even getting commercials too, folks. And that's just the story of life. Okay. Now, look at this. There's the eye of a size 5 tatting needle. Okay? This is from Handy Hands. This is what you'd use if you were tatting with size 10 or size 3 or size 20, okay? A 3 will fit in here. It'll be snug, it'll be tight, but it will fit. A 20 will fit in this. The biggest you can go is size 3, and this is the Handy Hand size 3 right here. Let me show you something real quick using Handy Hands needle threader. Alright, now we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put the needle threader in the hole, if I can see the hole. That's a problem. One, let's see how well it threads. This may not go through this way. If it doesn't, and you gotta give it did, you gotta tug on it. But I'm gonna show you how to thread this needle with size 3 real quick using a trick. Got to get that. Oh gosh, leave it to me. Okay, this here is just regular Elmer's glue, okay? I put it in a smaller bottle because I buy the jumbo school size, I use it for a lot more than this. But if you will take your netting thread, size 3, something you can see, and you take your scissors, I know they're here somewhere. They went somewhere. Where'd my scissors go? Where are you? There they are. I have to look for the orange cap. Take your thread. I want you to cut the edge of that at an angle, just like, okay? Just a teeny bit. Give yourself a little bit of room. Now, this can get messy if you want it to, or it can be something you will use for many times to come. Now, take that glue, run it all over that thread, keep pulling it through. Once you pull it through, twist that thread as tight as you possibly can, 'cause you're gonna make a needle with it. You see how I'm doing that? I'm twisting it towards me. You want the twist to come the direction it's supposed to go. All right. If you're left-handed, you twist it away. All right. Once you get it, thread it. Get that glue, extra glue off of your hands. I usually keep baby wipes in here. My husband nabbed them the other day. Don't ask where he put them. I can't find them. How many of y'all got a husband like that? All right. Now, once you've done that, you should be able to thread your needle fairly easy. If it's dried. Mine didn't dry. I got it wet when I was trying to wipe my hands off. And we're gonna fix that. Cut it into a point. Really? Cut it into a point. Finish that point up. Flatten. Got glue on my fingers and they're sticking to the needle. There it goes. Your size 10 and your size 20 will go in a lot easier. But your size 3, it's gonna give you a fit because the eye is too small to go in, okay? And you just have to keep working with it. Once you get the hang of it, I don't needle pat enough, okay, to be honest with you. Once you get the hang of it, it works itself out. Now there's some people that do it like sewing thread, right? You put it in there, wet it up real good. I don't like using sloth on my sewing thread or anything because chemicals in your mouth can damage the thread, okay? And it will show over time. Saliva, okay? So keep that in mind. I'm gonna just flatten this one. Let's go for it. Let's go. This one is just gonna fight me. This is Elizabeth Tatting for it. There it goes. There it goes. Come on, Harvey Wallbanger, get over. See, it's not going to go through. Not without that needle threader. So anybody that tells you that you can get it through without a needle threader, they're nuts. Because I've heard several needle tatters say that. I have yet to see it go through. And that's a fact. But we can play with it. And we'll get it in there. Okay? But you can use this on size 10 and size 20 thread. And it will feed it. There it goes. We got it. You just have to play with it. But it's on there. Okay? So that is a way you can thread a needle to work with. Now I'm gonna stick that in my ball of thread over there. I'm gonna put my cap back on this and set all this over here. Now I want to show you something on the back of the needles. If you look here on the back of the Handy Hands, any needle you get from Handy Hands is gonna have this little booklet. On the back, it will tell you what size threads will go with what size needle, okay? Even tells you the purl cotton sizes. Alright? The yarn needles, I have an entire set of yarn needles. If you're gonna tap with yarn, the negative space is unbelievable, okay? Because your rings are gonna be like this. I'm gonna show you a sample here. This is size 3 crochet thread or size 3 cutting thread, okay? You see the size of these rings? This is the challenge motif. I made it to that far, and I was like, "Oh my god, that thing is gonna be huge." So I snipped it off just so you could see how big the space is. And when you move up or down with your thread sizes, you're gonna have a problem. You gotta either take away or add stitches to your pattern, and you don't know how many you need to add or take away at that point. So you have to play with your design to get the right count so that it lays flat and it doesn't buckle up or stretch out, okay? Now I'm gonna go back to half screen and see if there's any questions. Alright, let's see. Hi, Harold, I didn't see you come in. Phyllis came in, Tracy came in. Boy, I just turned my head and look what happens. The world comes in. Hi, Lori. Alright, Karen, you came in right when I was going in there. Alright. Are there any questions? Questions? Yeah, I can see that. I'm world famous for driving them through my finger when I'm trying to pick out, Maria, the crochet hook, picking out a very, very small picot. I have drove that crochet hook into my finger. It hurts just as bad coming out as it did going in. So if you're gonna do very tiny picots, okay, Band-Aids are a must. You don't wanna get blood on your tatting. Alright, let's see. Hi, Karen. Janelle, I didn't see you, did I? Nope, I didn't say hi to you. I'm sorry. I didn't see you come in. Yeah, Pam, nail polish will work. You just that part you're gonna cut off anyway. So, but with glue, okay, guess what? It stays in there till you wash it out. When you wash it, it'll come out. Alright, let's see. An example of a page in my tatting sample book. All my sample book currently has let me get it out over here. I showed this last class. See, my sample book has my thread counts, the size and different size rings, and then we go over here to techniques. That's what I use mine for is techniques mostly. And I put the instructions with it so that, I can remember. And I do advise every one of you to do that. Why do I advise it? Because you don't use these techniques all the time. And you get a pattern that comes out and you say, "Oh, I wanna do it," and they've got a technique, and you say, "I remember that, but where do you get the info?" And the information from the person is gone because they had this website took down or whatever. You have no way of to know how to do that technique, and that has happened since Georgia handed off the classes and we moved the website to the new place. A lot of stuff has fell off. I got the information if you need. Don't worry about it. She gave me all the files. So I just gotta get it up, okay? But, if you can't find the information for that technique, you don't know how to do it, and that's how tatting will fall to the wayside. So, needless to say, use it for your techniques, see? And that's all you gotta do. You can see I got a bunch of blank pages. This is block tatting here. I haven't got the instructions on it yet, but I'll get it on there. And that's what I say, you use it for what it's for you. Now, if it's a pattern sample, I will put that sample, pattern that I did, and I'm sampling it out. I will put that sample on the actual page of the pattern, okay, like this. This was a pattern we did last round of classes. I will stick this on a page in a plastic sleeve that you use for beads and stuff like those. They got little plastic sleeves that fit in there. I will put it in there and staple it to the page of the pattern so I can see what it looks like as a finished piece. I will name what color thread I used. I will say what size thread I used, what size, if it's done a needle, what size needle I used. I will give all the information pertaining to that pattern and that sample that I used, and it'll stay. I always make 2 of everything. So I have a sample in the book. The sample book is not here, okay? It's in storage because 'cause we've been hauling stuff over there. Hey, Lillian. So, but that's what I do with my tatted up samples. My sample book has just my techniques, my measurements, things that are important for you if you're working on any project, you will need that, okay? So, yeah, that's a good thing to do. Yeah, you just I take and I cut up the instructions for that technique, and I make them fit, and if it takes 3 or 4 slots, that's fine. I look at it, I'd rather use the space to get all the information that I need available than to worry about losing space, okay? So, yeah, button tatting is fun. We're gonna get into a lot of that this session. Alright, so let's move on to the next order of business. Alright, so I showed you the goodies we've got, alright? Now there is a couple of things I will be showing you on needle if we have time. I've got my needle threaded. If we don't have time, I will catch it, okay? Trust me, I will catch it. Now, the folded join. This is some work that I'm doing for a project, okay? And it's one of my samples of a pattern that I'm tatting up, alright? Now, I can't, give you the stitch count and everything for this because it is a paid pattern. I bought it. I do a lot of buying, okay? But here's what we're looking at right here. This is shuttle 2. See? Shuttle 2. It's got all kinds of thread on here. This is what I'll be using mostly for chains, okay? No, the homework does not have to be done in size 10. Use tat it in what size you're comfortable with. I can zoom in on your samples that you send me, okay? Don't worry about that. I can see what you've done. Okay, back to this. Now, this is shuttle 1. Now, I'm right side up now. Now, what I've got here is I've got these rings here, and I've got this ring I'm working. Now, this ring has a join to the previous picot or the previous ring with the picot, and I did all my stitches, and now I'm ready to join here. When you have a join like this, it's coming back around to you. If You just reach down there and grab that thread through that picot, you're gonna twist the picot. I don't care how fancy it's gonna twist the picot. It's not gonna close proper, it's gonna twist it. So to prevent that, you fold this piece over like this, okay? You run your crochet hook up through that picot, twist that crochet around to grab that thread and pull it down through that picot, right? Make sure that thread is not twisted here. The part that's going around your finger, make sure it's not twisted there. Then take shuttle 1, come back up through that and pull it down. Now, as you're pulling it down and placing it, you wanna flip that back over and tighten it down. Your picot is finished and it did not twist, okay? Because most times in larger patterns, Lillian, the like this, the chains have rings coming off of 'em. I don't want to have to break back here to add more thread because that loses stability. When it's on the chain, it will lose stability. I would prefer to make my break on the rings. Because I'm doing front side, back side, hiding the ends on these is hard because you will get the little fuzzies because there's not enough space between the picots to hide your end. So a lot of things, like I say, read your pattern first, okay? But when you're running into spaces like this where you can't get more than just a half stitch, that little fuzzy's coming out, okay? So anytime I've got rings on my chains and they got a lot of picots, I will always use the shorter amount of thread on shuttle 1, okay? So once we get that join made, we can go ahead and finish out our ring and close it up, okay? So let me get that done, and then we'll close that ring, and you can see the final result. And, one more is needed. Alright. You can see all the glue all over my hands. Well, I'll tell you, Miss Mia has been sick now for a couple of days. Don't know what's making her sick. She's not doing so good, and we're gonna have to get her to the vets and let the vet have a chit chat with her, see what's going on. Alright, there we go. There was our final join. Now I would continue on with the chain and the other 2 rings with all the picots after I reverse my work. I would reverse my work, continue with the chains, the 2 rings, and I would join right here. Y'all got that? So, that's how you do a folded join. You literally fold the work, okay? Now, I do have a video up on the channel for folded joins, and if you do a search for that video, it'll be the first one to come up, okay? Right. Roy, you got it right, thank you. Alright, so we can move that one out of the way. Now we're gonna do the next one. By the way, I got your homework done too, folks. Alright, I've got size 3 thread here. and I have size 3 thread here. I have a variegated thread. I have a solid color thread. We are going to join this one and this one together to hide our ends. The reason I'm using size 3 to hide the ends is so I can show you how to place your floss threaders, your monofilament threaders, whatever you want to use to pull your thread ends back through on the other side when you finish your motif. So I'm going to tat up something really quick, something really simple to show you. But first, we've got to get out our little floss spreaders. Okay, that's these gum floss spreaders. They're on the Amazon list. I've got some monofilaments in there too. I don't think I have any set up in here. So let me see. Have I got some in here? Yes, I do. I got some right here. Let me get these. Now, here's what we got. You see these little things in this bag? This here is what they call fireline. Beaters use it. Okay, I'll wait. I can see y'all now. Let me know when it's done. Tom, if you're in class, I will get to some needle tatting for you. You like my purple thread? That's a Handy Hands Lista thread in size 10. Motor Mutt just heard the ice maker. Drop the ice. That's Elizabeth size 10, and it's 646 for. And from size to size, it's concise. I mean, the color is identical. This here, this is size 3. It's 609. I've got this in 20, and it's a brighter, more of a peachy orange color. So, yeah. But I do like purple. You know that. I'm the purple lady. All right. So we're past that commercial, I'm sure, right? RD, the Amazon list is right under the video in the description box. And it's also on the TOTC website, and Pam's got it listed in the group as well. So, what was I going to say? Oh, these are made with fire. Now you can get the different colored fire line. You can get gray, you can get black, you can get silver, you can get clear. Any of the above is fine. This is a little stronger if you're tight tatter than the floss threaders. You can make these real easy. You get you a roll of fire line. Let me show you what it looks like. These back in the bag. Don't want to lose these because I do use these. Wrong drawer. Wrong drawer. I got too many drawers, folks. Okay, here is your fire line. This one here is waxed, okay? And it's got, uh, it's like a metallic, okay? When you bend it, it bends and stays. This is more like beading thread, like the Dymo thread, and either one will work. This, same deal, it'll bend out of your way, okay? You get About the same on both of them. It's just this is a smaller thread than this one. You can see the difference, okay, right there. This is a heavier thread. This is beading thread. This here is also beading thread, but it's used for heavier beads and stuff. But it works great for, making the little threaders with. Or you can just get fishing line. That'll work. These clear ones were made with fishing, okay? Just make sure it's the small, tiny fishing line. And the key is, okay, try not to use a color that matches your thread because you're gonna lose this, okay? If this matches your thread and you're using blue threads, you can see how it's gonna get lost in there. I mean, this is barely showing up on the orange, okay? But if I put an orange one in here, it's you're gonna lose it. It's goner, okay? You're not gonna know which one's which. So try to use something different color than the thread you're working with. And the fire line, it comes I know it comes in smoke, it comes in black, it comes in silver, it comes in gray. I don't know if it comes in white. I've never bought any white, and other colors I don't know. But this works great. You can tug this, I mean, seriously, you can tug this and drag a fish in, okay? So, it's pretty stout stuff. I have no idea what that was, but whatever it was, it wasn't important. How about that? So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start our ring, okay? And we've got a tail here. Now, check this out. I have nothing else attached to this thread. Now, there's 2 ways you can go about this. You can tat your first double stitch, okay, and you can take this tail and bend it over to the back side, and you can weave it in. Up, we're at a commercial again. We shall wait for the commercial. Yeah, even the teachers getting commercials. I gotta talk to YouTube about that. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, the website. I've took some pages down because we keep having trouble, and it's in the beginners group, beginner pages for lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson so forth. We got those hidden right now. Dennis has gotta work on it. Amazon World Services went down yesterday, and he was on the phone at 6 AM when it went down until almost 7 last night trying to get it fixed, and they're still working on it. So, yeah, that's his job. Amazon World Services is where medical information is being stored to transfer in case of a natural disaster, okay? So, don't ask me any more than that, that's all I can do. It's the rest of it's Greek to me. Alright, now we're gonna weave this in. So, you're gonna make your first half of your double. Once you get that thread to flip, pull that tail up, then drag it right back down there. Everybody see that? Tom, you're looking. That's alright. We work with the commercials. Now, the second half of that stitch, you go ahead and make it. When you do the flip, you pull your thread back up through there, and you do this through 3, 4 stitches. That should hold it, okay? But if you really wanna get technical, you could go through 5 or 6 stitches if you've got that many to go through. Most tatting patterns don't offer that many. So 3 to 4 double stitches is ample enough. But here is the trick, folks. You never, ever, ever take note of this. Drop that tail in the middle of a peak. Write that down while I get this first half of this stitch in. The second no-no is you never ever drop that tail at the end of a double stitch. Write that down. I have no idea, Pam. None at all. Okay. Now, you want to drop that tail in the middle of a double stitch. So what I do, I don't cut the tail. Some people do. They'll cut it right here. I'm not brave. Okay, there's this one I've just worked the core with, and then there's this one. My luck, I would cut this one, and this one. Okay, that's just how my luck runs. So what I do is I fold it back out of my way, and I finish my ring. Now this ring is just gonna be 6 picot 6, okay? Let's get one more in here. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see the break real easy where this drops off in the center on the bigger thread, okay? That's okay. That's alright. Now, we're gonna put our picot in. Once we get that picot in, pull us some more thread. That's why I don't like using this big thread to demonstrate, but for rings or a quick, show, it's okay. We're gonna do the sample that we're doing today in size 10. It's only because you all need to see what we're doing. Now we're gonna put 6 more double stitches on this side of this wonderful, okay, and that thread is twisty. Oh my word, look how twisty it is. Now if it gets too twisty for you, you can always back the twist out, and I'll do that sometimes. If it's real twisty, I'll twist it the direction to take the twist out and then let it naturally come back, but it will not naturally come back to the original twist. So you can get some of the twist out if it gets to be too much of a headache. There's 4, and we got 5 and 6. Alright, now we're gonna close this ring. Pull both ends together. Alright, and we've got to add shuttle 2 right here. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna drop shuttle 2 right down through there. Give yourself just enough tail to start off. Finish closing that ring. And what you're doing is you're closing that tail up in that ring, the very base. Now, once you get it in, pull that in. You want it to lay on that core thread and then tighten that thread up beside it again. Pull one more time. Now, what you have done is you have locked that tail in, and to get it to come out, it will be a tug to get it to come out. All right? So now we're going to reverse our work. This tail, at this point, you can lay it on your table or whatever you're working on. Take your scissors and you can lay them right up flush. Careful, don't cut the threads and snip. Now, take your finger where you snipped, your fingernail, and work it in between those stitches. And that will press that fuzzy into stitch work. We've reversed our work. Okay. You want, yeah, we're reversed. You want this on the back side. You have to get your shuttles laid out. Once you do it, you're gold. You're golden. Golden. Now you wrap that for the chain. This is your working shuttle, and here's your tail. Place it just like that, and you're guess what? You're going to do exactly what you did a while ago. You're gonna tat the first half, Now this is traditional. You can do this doing, front side, back side, doesn't matter. Whatever one you wanna pull in first, you pull it in. Bring that stitch as close to the bottom of that ring as you possibly can get it, okay? Then put in that second. And I see we've got another ad. Oh, Lord have mercy, they're making up for lost time. Okay, here we go. We got our first stitch in, push it up there. Oh, I'll show you again, Carmen, not a problem. Alright, what if you're cutting through picots when you're hiding your thread and there are just a few double stitches for the rings? That would only be a few stitches to hide your thread. I would take the tail all the way to the middle part of the last stitch that you're working on. On that last stitch, I would break it center of that last stitch, okay? You understand that, Lillian? Okay, Carmen, watch what I'm doing here. I hold it, I've reversed my work, I'm holding it in the pinch, wrap all the way around till I get to this finger. Go over this finger, it's going under. And that gives me the tightness I need right here. This is where your tension is, folks. The tension is kept how tight this is. Think of this as a tightrope, okay? That is your tension. The tighter this thread is, the better your stitches lay on it. You're welcome. Both of you are welcome. Now, if your tension gets loose here, your stitches are gonna be loose. So, that has to be kept tight, and what this does, the way I wrap my hand, and you'll find a lot of tatters do this, that pulls that tension in tight because you've got 2 fingers in opposite directions pulling on that thread to keep that tension tight. And when you take your fingers down, that even triples down on it, okay? Now the other thing that helps keep your stitches right is your pinch. Everything you do, tighten it over to the pinch and put it in the pinch. Now you don't have to put a grip on here like Gorilla Grip, okay? You don't have to do that. Just hold it in place. Now you're gonna find there's situations that you're naturally gonna grip a lot tighter. That's fine, and it's because you gotta yank on that thread. This tatting thread is a lot tougher than you think it is, okay? So you pull on it and you're giving it the Y for trying to get a ring to close. You need that pinch grip, okay, to keep your tension and everything in place. Hi, Desiree. That's okay. You're fine. So we're going to put in another stitch and we're going to weave this tail down through that. All right. Come on down. Now, if we were going to close this off at the end, okay, let me put in one more stitch and we'll just get rid of this right here. Then I'm gonna put in 2 more stitches. I'm gonna show you the trick to the false threaders. There it is. Okay, I see it now. We're gonna lay that back just like that. And we're gonna come in with that second half. Now I'm gonna put in 2 more stitches just to give ourselves a separation on this. This is purely demonstration. Now, if your thread is going to feed back up through the chain, your tail in. When you're done, then you would lay this floss threader with this loop-de-loo this way, because that's the tail end. You're going to be hiding up through this chain. Now, if get off my fingers here, you're gonna hide your thread in. This is magic thread trick, by the way, folks. If you're gonna hide it in this ring, then you would have to point your floss threader down to the base of the ring, because that's where your tails are going to be. And each side, you can pull a tail up through each side. Does everybody got it? What? A gray plastic item is peeking up the top right of the screen. Where? Let me see. Okay, let me what is that? That is weird. It just went away. That just went away. What was that? That was freaky. That's my ghost. No, not my lamp or the camera. I didn't do anything, and it disappeared. I moved the lamp, but it didn't disappear. That is weird. That's weird. Oh, God, that's weird. Alright, anyway, let's get back to this. So, the tail of that floss threader, that's this part. This is the loop. If you're gonna hide it in the ring, tail would come to the base of the ring. You're gonna hide it on this side of the ring, same deal. Tail's gonna come to the base of the ring. If you're gonna hide it in the chain, okay, then it is going to go this way. Whatever direction your tails are, you want this part to be in the direction. I was turning it the wrong way. Alright, there you go. And that's how you do it. So if we put in I'm gonna put in 3 stitches here, okay? Drop that one off back there. I'm gonna cut it so it's out of our way. You're a goner. Done. Alright. So, this in here. Pull those stitches over, and I'm gonna put 3 more double stitches in here for you. And I'm gonna show you how to pull that tail through and what it will look like, okay? I'm not doing the front side, back side. You can tell I do that a lot. The reason I don't post my shuttles is because if I do all the fancy footwork, it's so hard to change. It's so hard to change. Alright, so this is going to be my last stitch before I start processing this. And you would do this the same way you do your tatting on a tail to hide your tails. Alright, so you would run this down through that loop, and you don't have to do nothing but just grab it and pull it, okay, and slide it over, alright? Let me get that again, I put the wrong side in. I tell you. See how hard it is? Y'all gonna try this sometime, really. It's a pick me, I'll tell you. When you're used to doing something, when you have to not do it, yeah, it don't happen. It just don't happen. Well, let's put it this way, when we get into split rings, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, now you're gonna walk that over, alright? And you just keep putting in stitches until you say, "Okay, that's enough, and I'm done, and I'm gonna pull that tail through." So let me put in 1 more double stitch, okay? You same deal, you never want to end on the end of a double stitch. You always want to end in the middle stitch. It's more secure. And when I say that, I do mean it is more secure. thing is so bent to pieces. I should retire this, but I don't. It'll break eventually, and then I'll have to. Alright, now, as you see, I'm dropping that off on the back side. Here it is, it's coming out the middle of that double stitch. Now I'm gonna put in one more whole stitch, okay? Drop that down, and the reason I'm doing this is because we're going across the back, that off my hand. We'll be going across the back with our tail, give a full looking double stitch on the back side, and then it's going to go back in and hide under those 3, okay? Let me do this. I'm gonna cut that thread, snipped. I'm gonna run that thread right through that loop. This is where you start begging for mercy. I'm here to tell you, you're gonna beg for mercy. Now what I do myself, this is a little hint, nobody's gonna tell you this but me. I will grab a little bit of a loop, okay? You'll see why I did that. Because when you start pulling this tatting, you see how hard it is? It doesn't wanna come through, and the better the loop, the less thread you've got to mess with, okay? Some more, 'cause it bunches up just like it does when you're closing a ring. It will bunch up every single time right into your work. This is why I sew in my ends. Come on. If it doesn't wanna work that way, walk those stitches, you can always tighten it up. I used to have there it is. Let me get my little things, my little things. Okay, these are crisscross scissors or tweezers. Watch what I do. Roll it up and I pull. Now you know why she has all been out of shape. Once you get her there, then you find that tail. Which side is the tail? Oops, that's the loop. There's the tail. We got pull that off and pull that back through. Okay. Then you can fiddle faddle with these stitches before you lock it down and tighten everything up. Myself, I don't do this, okay? I don't pull them through, I sew them in. Why? It's relaxing. I like to sew 'em. So there you go. So your tails come across the back here, right there, and then come out the center of that. Take your scissors, cut it off. Now I'm gonna leave the fuzzy so you can see. Y'all see that? There's your fuzzy. That's where it came out at, and it's between the 2 legs of the pants. This is where it pulled in at, right there. Okay? Everybody got that? Alright, what am I missing here? Hi, Teresa. Welcome. So, everybody got that? Now, for you needle tatters, you can sew these ends in jig time, and the way you sew them in is you sew them under the caps. You go under the caps. Alright, can I tat a tail in on a change? Don't understand that question. What do you mean on a change? If you're changing colors from one thing to the next? Alright, and I'm guessing this is the question. If I was changing, say, from this color to this color, okay, on a chain, yes, you can tat in a tail on a chain, you can tat in a tail on a ring, you can tat in a tail on a split ring, for a split chain, anywhere you want to. It all depends on how much patience you have, okay? Because depending on where you're gonna break your color, remember, if you cut these 2 ends off and you're totally changing from one color to the next, if I was breaking off with these 2 and then gonna come in with these 2, do you see how many ends you've got to find homes for? That's 4, okay? Now, if you ran out of thread on one shuttle and you needed to re-thread it, you're gonna still have 2 ends. Anytime you make a break, remember, you're gonna at least have 2 ends. If you make a break on both sides, you've got 4 ends. Now, if you're tatting with, say, you're doing multiple shuttles, okay? You're tatting with, say, 6 different shuttles. And yes, you can tat. They do a lot of padded tatting using mini shuttles. Um, if you're gonna do that, double those ends. Remember that. Okay, sorry, I got it late. Go ahead, slap my hands. Bad girl. Alright, we're back. Alright, awesome sauce, awesome sauce. Now, let me try to get some of this stuff out of me with things away so they're not in the way. That goes with that. Alright, and this goes with that. I got another hook here for this. Alright, now, here we go. This is my drawer that's got all my small crochet hooks. Veronica made these umpteen gazillion years ago for me. She made me one of every size. So, yay, Veronica. I can't wait till you start selling to us again. Okay, next thing on our agenda is the onion ring joint. Okay, that's easy peasy. Let me get the right shuttle here. Here it is. All right, I'm going to tat up a quick ring here. All right, this is nice 10 thread. It's the purple, the Europal purple that I like. All right, so I'm going to do another ring of 6 picot 6, but my picot is going to be a tiny one here, okay? 5, 6. Now, there was a pattern, and I think it was in one of the download patterns. Now, it wasn't for homework, okay? But what it did was it called for a picot and a join in the same place. Now, how many of you have heard Georgia say that a picot is only a double stitch that didn't grow up? How many of y'all have heard that? Hey, Dennis, can you shut off that ice maker? Just unplug it. Put that ice in the fridge. We ran out of ice. The refrigerator has an ice maker, but we don't run it for the simple fact we didn't have 'em hook it up. We did not, seriously, did not want the problems from water leaks because the refrigerator's inside of a build out. So, okay, a chain. Okay, I got that, Lori. Yeah, you can hide your ends in the chain. All right, now I've created this ring. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the half turn, okay? Come across, put our thread on there. There goes me barking again because we have noise. The stabilizer on the front needs tightening. So everything in this house moves. He hasn't had time. All right, now we're going to do the first half of this onion ring, and we bring that first half stitch down on top of that onion ring at the base. And we're going to put in 6 because that's what the previous ring had, right? 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now we're going to measure. Well, it looks like we're going to have at least 3 double stitches. Bring this on around to the peak. Okay. So we're going to put in 3 double stitches. There's the third one. Now we're going to lay it down. I'm going to come around like this. Bring it around here. Let's see. Can we get that? Yeah. Now I'm going to go down in that picot. Seeing this? Down in that picot, and I'm grabbing my thread. I'm going to pull it up. Now this here is where it's going to get, as they say, tages. My grandma used to think everything was tages. If it was a pill to do, it was tages. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna bring this up, knuckles to nails. We're gonna pull that down. Now what you're creating is a shuttle join or shuttle lock joint. Okay, when you do that. Now you see your thread is not moving. It's not going to. Why? Because you created a shuttle lock joint. You grab the closest thread to you. That is not what you want on here. You needed to see what a shuttle lock join does. A shuttle lock join, these are all the same sayings, okay? And what that does is that locks that stitch right there. So what do you gotta do? Anybody? See if you can answer that. We learned about that last week, okay? Which side of the onion ring do we go after when we go to join? Which side of the thread? Are we gonna go for the core thread, or are we going to the shuttle thread to create a shuttle lock join? We're gonna go core, okay? That way you have free reign, unless you're doing a chain, okay? A self-closing mock ring, which is actually a chain, okay? That's the only other way you can do a onion ring and be able to close your ring. So, pull that down. Now, when you pull it down, you will see, tighten your ring up. You can get yourself more thread. Let's let the twist out of that. It's buckling up the back. When it starts buckling up over itself, yeah, you need to get the twist out. Now, we're here at our little spot. Well, what you want to do is put a picot in. What do you do when you put a picot in? You grab it, you pull it over. See my picot right there? Y'all see it? Hold that in the pinch. Come back with the second half, bring it down, and just put that little pick right there, lock the 2 stitches side by side. You have now put in a picot at the top, okay? Now if you forget to do that, say it does close up on you, whatever. Again, a picot is a double stitch that hasn't growed up. Let me show you what you do. I got that second stitch in. You reach in there, right behind that stitch, and you grab your picot. You see? Yeah, a double stitch is a picot is a double stitch that never grew up. And Georgia said that quite frequently in the day. Okay, so we're going to finish this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Getting a little gappy here. Close that. 7, 8, and 9. I may have miscounted. If I did, that's okay. This is a sample. Pull it down. Now, to get that onion ring to close on this end, same deal. You come in, grab this core thread. You want it to close. Grab the shuttle thread. It will not close because that creates a shuttle lock. Okay. Again, knuckle to nail. Bring it down, close your ring. And there is your ring and your little tiny picot sitting right up here on the top. You don't have to put one in if you don't want to. You just run your crochet hook down into the picot. These glasses do not like me. I have got to get new glasses, people. There we go. Nope, that one may be too thick. One, I'll get this one. It'll go after. There we go. There's your picot right there. See? And that's how you do it. That's it in a nutshell. Now, in your documentation that you got last week, there was from Jennifer Williams. Let's catch that up in there, wouldn't I? The document on the onion ring join, and it's a down join. Okay, and it doesn't matter while you're practicing which way you go with the up or the down join. The fact of the matter is, you need to join using the core thread, not the shove thread. Add again. All right, now let me get my threads here. That's a sample. Go bye-bye. This can get out of the way. And so those little scrapies I don't save for anything. That's what I call them, my little scrapies. Now, this is what I was talking about in the downloads. This is the diagram y'all need for the downward join onion ring to do Jennifer's pattern. The little flower motif, that's what this is for. This here was the folded join that I demonstrated. That was the two things y'all had problems with. Now, the homework, let me get this out before we move on to our motif. The homework for class. I have give you a choice of 3 patterns. That's what we're doing today. Okay. This one here, the pincushion, the stitch tatted medallion, or our very own Kathleen sunburst pattern. This can be technically challenging because there's beads, there's lock joins, Josephine knots. There's a lot in here that you probably are not familiar with. If you are not familiar with it, don't worry about it. Don't do it. That's why I give you choices. I only want you to do what you know how to do. This is how I know where you're at in the learning process. That's why I give you so many choices. You don't have to do them all. Okay, let's get that right. You don't have to do them all, but I want you to familiarize yourself. Everything that is in these classes, we do have a technique video up. If we don't, we will have, and you just let me know which one it is. Okay, is an onion ring symmetrical? It should be symmetrical, but it's not necessary. Let me ask you this, is an onion symmetrical? And that is what an onion ring is supposed to be. It has some symmetry to it when it's done, but one side may be a little bit shorter, and you don't have to do maybe a half stitch. Then again, you may need to do a full stitch on one side more than the other. It's all to do with tension, okay? That is the key thing. Onion rings are a pill if you don't do 'em on, okay? But if you get yourself in a pinch, you can cover your base with adding another double stitch, okay? That's not a problem. But if you are working on something that's commissioned work, you're in a competition, make sure there's symmetry, okay? Because they do great on that. If you want a ribbon, a blue, you make sure everything matches because They're gonna check, everything from picots, sizes, down to have you worked that core thread flat. Yes, onion rings are also asymmetrical on one side. Exactly, exactly. I like that idea, Aurora. Why don't you design us one? You can. I know you can. She's got some pretty designs on her website. Okay, now we are going to do oh, I threw my pattern over here. The pattern of the day. Now I'm going to show you two things with one motif. Okay. First thing is everybody was having trouble with that folded joint. Okay. And the folded joint comes in right here where C meets A on the last ring or the last clover. Okay. So everybody get your pattern out that had that question and mark right there. This right here is a folded join. Okay. And you're going to fold this part of the pattern over in order, just like I did. The one I demonstrated, you fold that over. Okay. You run the crochet hook up through the picot, twist it around, grab your cord thread, pull it back down. Once you pull it back down, then you fold this work half over so that this picot meets this picot. Okay. And that will work everything out. Just watch the video. Now on this side, this is the side I want to do because all of you said, "Oh, I want to do that. I don't know how to do it." Now, this has options. Okay, and I was hoping y'all would pick up on the option, but we're not there yet, but we are gonna get there. Okay, the options are we can do a swirl join, which makes it a rounded center, or we can do joins on each side of those rings. These are thrown rings, thrown off rings, okay? Um, offset rings. I mean, there's 10,000 different names for every technique, okay? Common use is thrown rings or thrown off rings, okay? Now, you when you do this chain here, you're gonna come up 5 double stitches, do your ring, and go back 5 stitches and do your next clover, okay? But today, we're going to join using the swirl join. So I'm going to tack this clover here and this clover here, okay? And I'm gonna put this here, and you'll see what I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna come back up here and do this one. So let's get started on that. And I'm also gonna hide my ends before we move into this, okay? Before we really get going. I gotta find that end though, I'll tell you. This here is Elizabeth. It's one of her samples. I've had this thing forever, and I thought, wow, I got a lot of samples that she sent me over the years, and I never used, so might as well. I usually just buy my threads and do get out of my way. Thank you. All right. I usually trim off the edge because it's frayed and it's just a peel to keep up with. And here's how I do. I know this is me. This is not, you can do it this way. I'm just saying you can do it this way. This is how I do it. When I'm joining 2 ends together, I set my work to my left, working thread. If I'm in the living room, I've got a container a ball of thread goes in, especially if it's ring and chains. Now, if I gotta have 2 shuttles, I'll hook up 2 shuttles. I take shuttle 1 thread and I lay it across like this, one this way and one this way. See that? This here is the variegated. I pull a big tail for that. Bring this down because I don't like trimming my threads. So, check this out. Watch what I do. It's gonna blow your minds. I've showed you the right way, now I'm gonna show you my way. So, nobody can say they didn't learn the right way. It's not wrong. Remember that. There's no wrong really in tatting. It's what's comfortable to you and how you like it. So, we've got to put in 4 double stitches. And when I'm doing a lot of end tying, I always make sure I've got a shuttle that's got a pig to work those ends in, okay? That's 3. There's 4. The other half of that 4. You can see I've still got some tail hanging out there, right? Well, let's just move it on. We need a picot here, and these side picots on these rings don't need to be very big, so we go ahead and put that in, okay? Let's get it out there. I pulled it in too far. There we go. Pull it down. I put the other half of that in, okay? Put it in, grab both ends, lock that stitch down, and pull it over. Once I pull it over, I run my pick up into that picot, and I go on. And I end up working this tail almost completely into my work. So I don't have a lot of ends to have to deal with, okay? And this is 7 double stitches here. Gonna be. It's 3. That's 4. Okay, I'm gonna call that quits right there. Now, pull out the twist. We're going to fold that back. All right. Now we're going to put that other half in. Now we went the 4 plus 4 more. Okay. Loosen up on the tension so they all work together. No, you don't need 2 shuttles for this design, Esther. Okay. If you're gonna do this one, the challenge piece, you won't need 2 shuttles at all unless you're doing this. But I'm going to show you how to do it with a ball of thread, right? This again, this is how I do it because it's not enough to warrant the extra shuttle. Okay. That's a hard one to understand. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we gotta put in another micro picot here, or no, we can go a little bigger 'cause it'll be a pretty picot. Now you can put staggered picots on these center rings if you want. That's up to you. I'm still working on the first one. I'm trying to do this larger picot on the join. Yeah, go ahead. We got 2 double stitches. We gotta close this ring. Now, close it. Bring it tight. We're in the pinch. Everybody see that pinch? Bring it around tight. Now, normally you will post your shuttle. I don't post my shuttle unless I'm doing commission work, and then I got a sticky pad that I stick on my pattern that says, "Don't forget, post your shuttle." If I posted my shuttle with every pattern that I did when I'd go to teach it all, I'd totally forget where I was at. So I learned to not post my shuttle for that reason. And that's okay. You don't have to. It's not required, like, again, unless it's a competition. Alright, now let's go ahead and number B, or letter B. So let's get that in there. 1, click, and 2. Now, you see I've got a little bit of gaposis there. What I would do is pull back that thread, okay? Pull it back. But you do want a tad bit because this is a clover. If you don't give yourself a little bit of room between the elements, they'll climb on top of each other. You don't want it to do that. You want it to lay side by side. So you give it a little give, not too much, but you give a little give to it so it can lay beside and they can go nice and neat side by side. Okay? So let's go here and pull that through. Drop it on our finger. Put a shuttle. And as you can see, they're going to lay side by side. Our stitches is going to face each other right here on the side. Okay, so we got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to put in our picot at the top. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We've got to put in our tiny picot for joining. All joining picots should be comparable to a double stitch, okay? That way, you have enough of a joining to compensate for what you need to do. Now, again, we've got twist in here. This thread is just horrible. It's just horrible. It's just twist. We'll get it out. All right, so we're gonna close that ring. Before I go any further, I'm gonna choke up on my shuttle to give myself enough room for it to drop out, pull it down like that, and walk that twist back out, okay? There. Now it's not gonna be so twisty. Let's put in our next ring. You wanna lay that over there, but give yourself just I take my pick on my tatting shuttle, and I just put it in there and give myself that much of an adjustment because it is got to lay right up beside that ring. Where is my crochet hook? Where'd you go? There you are. Mine is about run the shuttle up through, get 7. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you were going to make a bracelet, a tablecloth, a trim using this pattern, yes, wrap a shuttle. But for demonstrative purposes, I did not use a second shuttle, but I'm going to show you how you could use your ball or sample thread as a shuttle. Okay, it's real easy. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Put in our joining picot again and put in 4, 3, and 4. Now we're going to close that ring. Okay. Now there's our clovers. Now Gaposis, it shows up at the worst of times. Okay. Gaposis is when your ends don't meet here. If you will notice, when I close a ring, I've got it in the pinch. I pull towards my nipple up here. That is so I get a complete closure on this ring. Okay? If you do that oh, I didn't even see it, Jeremy. We really need to get a bell or something. But if you do that, it'll prevent the gaposis here at the bottom. Then when you start your next element, you wanna bring your stitches right up to it and lay it right on top of it. It'll stop that. It takes practice. That takes practice. So don't be too hard on yourself. No, everybody has to deal with it, okay? You're not the only one. Now, you remember I had my thread right here at the front, right? Now I'm going to pull that tail down like that. Same deal. We're gonna wrap our hand for the chain, and we've gotta put in 5 double stitches. Now I don't want to carry that tail all the way through to these rings. So at 4 stitches, I'm dropping this off, so it would be 3.5, okay? So we're gonna go 1, I'm gonna do this front side, back side, because it's easy for me to remember. When you pull that in, pull it up to where it draws all your rings together. You'll have a little hole right there. That's fine. That's a fact of life. It just happens. Okay. So we're going to walk this through. And on the 3.5 mark, that's where we're going to drop that tail off. Okay. We go 1, 2, right there. That's the second half of 2. And this is 3. Second half of 3. And this is the next stitch is going to be the first half of the 4 or 3.5, either way you wanna call it. That's where we're gonna drop this tail off, right? So put that in, snug everything up, lay that thread back over, put in 4 and 5. Now we've gotta work this. If we were going to do the center here as it's written, 4 picot 2 picot 4, that's fine. But we're going to do a swirl join and connect all these together and give ourselves a center that looks like it's a circle, okay? That way, if you want to put a small bead or something in there, you can. Later, you can sew it in. So, with that said, we drop shuttle 1, we pick up shuttle 2 or our ball thread. Now, we're gonna choke up on this ball thread, wrap the ball thread up, take this and wrap it around our hand, okay? And again, we're going to make our ring. This would be the first half because we're doing front side, back side. We still have to follow that. So we put in 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's see what we got. We got 1, 2, 3. Now we're going for 4. And if it starts unwinding, that's fine. Okay. Here's 4. Now we got 4. Now we've asked for 2 to go in here between these. So we have to break that up. All right. We want to give 1 extra stitch on each side to give us enough room to get that circle really defined. So here's where you can play with patterns. This pattern says 4 picot 2 picot 4. Or yeah, we got it. Okay. So you have 2 picots, 2 in the middle, and then 4 on each side. That is a total of 10 stitches, which would be 5 and 5. But if you give yourself an extra stitch or even an extra half stitch on each side, it will help really define that ring. A full stitch really defines it. So we've got our 4 double stitches. We're going to put in our 5th double stitch, and it's okay to play with patterns. Okay, remember the actual pattern that you're working from is still copy, and you have to say, if you share this, you have to say, "This is my inspiration from so and so's pattern," and you give the name of the pattern. You have to define the owner of the pattern and the pattern name itself, okay? So we got 5 stitches. Now let's put a 6th one in here before we put in our single picot. Now we got 6 double stitches. Now we want a picot that's big enough to attach 4 rings to, okay? So when we do that, we make that picot really big enough for 4 double stitches. And if we're familiar with our thread, we can pretty much gauge because this picot is supposed to be 1 picot for each ring. So this ring would have to be 4 picots long or 4 picots wide, okay? So let's go with that. All right. I gotta put this other half in, don't we? Yes, we do. There we go. So there's our joining picot. Now we're gonna put in the other 6 double stitches. That was the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. Uh, Open it up. Now, this is the fourth one. Now, working with a ball of thread or the sample of thread, yeah, you tend to twist the thread more. And you can't let go of that to get the twist out, but you can the other direction. I can pick it up and it'll come out that way. Okay. So yeah, if there's a wheel, there is a way. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. We got our 6 in. Now, drop this back over our hand. Get that in the pinch. Tight. If it starts to kink, catch it before it gets a knot in it. If it gets a knot, just pull and you'll hear the knot pop out. All right, now we got our tail in there. We need to get rid of that tail before we go any further. So we lay it down on our table, tray, whatever we're working on, and we snipper it, get it out of the way. Now, wrap our hand, finish that chain. Okay. We're going to put in our 5 double stitches. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. See where we're at? Now we're going to reverse our work. Now we come in and we do our next clover. Okay. Once we get started with this next clover, we'll whiz through and then we'll get to the first ring to join to our main ring. So we got 2, 3, 4. Now we have to join right here. So we grab our 4 thread and do the join. Pull it up. Hook it on our finger so we don't twist that thread up. And as long as we are doing up joins, it's gonna lay pretty flat in there, okay? When you're joining this close like this, if you do an up join, you don't really notice it. You do a down join, it's a little more noticeable, okay? But preference is your own. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to put in a small picot and 2 double stitches. That's that first ring in place. Okay, everybody see it? We've got that first ring done. Tighten it up. Okay. Now we're going to do the second middle ring. Bring it over. Give ourselves that little bit of gap that we need. Okay. I'm going to join to this picot. Pull it through. Hook it on our finger. Up join it and pull it in. Lock her down. Cat in 7. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I know, Janella, that's fine. That's fine. If we're a few minutes late, he's just going to have to wait to go without me. That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open it up. The tail's getting in the way back there. Drop it. Get that twist out. Got to get that twist out. Now, if y'all have to leave or something, that's fine. You can catch the rest of it on the replay. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small picot for our joining picot and put in 2 double stitches. Now we're going into that last ring in this clover after this. Okay. Close it, pull it tight, tighten it down, get it locked in there good. That chain thread keeps getting in your way. Just push it out of the way. Anything, it's just thread. If it's in your way, push it out of the way. Okay. Go 1, 2, and we're going to grab our crochet hook and we're going to join. He's still in the medium too. Okay, we're both running late. All right, we got to put in 7. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me let it out. There it goes. 6 and 7. And our little joining picot right there. And 3 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you'll notice, I pull these fingers out to give myself more room, especially if I'm getting close to closing the ring. And I'll get it down to where the shuttle can barely fit through there. All right, we got it in. Now we're moving on, and we're going to do 5 double stitches and go into this ring. Okay, I will show you how to join. Okay, now if I was putting in all 4 of these, let me get the 5 double stitches done. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if I was joining all of these here, they would all join the same way. But what you would do for the swirl join, all your rings but your 4th would have a picot. On your 4th ring, you would go around and join them all together at the same time. Okay? However, you can also share that join and join like this. It will give the same effect. Okay? If everything is joined in the same manner. Okay? Got me? So you can join this many, many different ways, and it will give you the same effect. He's ready to rock and roll. So that's it. We're going to leave off here. Okay. I will pick up from here next week. We work on it until we get it done. Now, there's a couple of changes I want to go over with you real quick. I'll be ready in a minute, honey. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Let me switch cameras here. Get my mouse to wake up. Mousy, mousy. Come on. All right. Let's see. What's going to happen? All right, for classes. Because we are getting into things and we're finding out that a lot of you in the beginners class are also taking these classes. You're learning double duty here. All right. You all are trying to accomplish a lot, and I do appreciate everything y'all are trying to accomplish. But for something that was difficult for us to do, like this, okay, we need to work on it. And I'm going to we have a planned schedule, okay, of what we're gonna learn. I'm gonna cram as much as I can into each lesson for both beginners and intermediates. And then I'm going to work through the issues. I'll be out there in a minute. I'll work through the issues with you and we'll get past it together as a group. Okay. And with that said, next week we're going to come back to this little fun thing. And I'm going to teach both the swirl join and how to join to a large picot and get the same effect. I will have two samples ready for you. Okay. So with that said, are there any questions real quick? He's starting to try. Okay. Yeah, he's ready. So he's got everything ready. All right. That's it. I'm out of here. All right. If y'all got questions, email them in. I will get back to you tomorrow. Okay. I will answer emails all day tomorrow. So with that said, everybody have a wonderful evening. Beginners, class is Thursday. Your email will go out tomorrow. Okay. And we'll pick up from there. All right. We're going to play this by ear until we get it all worked out. Till then, may all your threads make beautiful lace and happy tatting, everyone. Have a great night. Bye bye.